Christian Parenting.
Before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you about one of the sponsors of Little by Little Homeschool Conference this year, Leigh. If you're here today, you already know something a lot of people are only starting to catch up to. Homeschooling isn't a fallback. It's a calling, and it's working. Across the country, families just like yours are choosing to homeschool because they want more for their kids, an education that reflects their faith, their values, and their family. This is part of something bigger than most people realize. Since the pandemic, more than 1 million students have left the traditional school system. Meanwhile, millions of families are taking charge and building education that works better for them. Across the country, parents and educators are schooling at home and in community, creating co-ops, hybrids, and tutorials that better fit their children, their values, and their communities. It's a family movement led by moms like you. We call it indie education. That's where Leigh comes in. Leigh is the trusted platform behind the indie education movement, and it exists to support exactly what you're already doing. For families, that means a simple way to find homeschool co-ops, hybrid programs, and resource centers near you through the Leigh app, so you're never doing this alone. And for those of you who feel called to build something yourselves, maybe a co-op of your own, a tutoring collective, or a resource center for other homeschool families, Leigh is there for that too. They offer seed funding of up to $10,000 to help new homeschool programs get off of the ground, a community of thousands of moms turned entrepreneurs, and free tools and resources to help you grow. To date, they've supported more than 5,600 founders across all 50 states who are owning their family's education. So wherever you are on this journey, maybe you're just starting out, you're a few years in, or you have a sense of a call to build something new, Leigh wants to walk alongside you. Visit Leigh.org, that's VELA.org, or download the Leigh app to find your community. This is Indie Education. Welcome to Little by Little Homeschool Podcast. I am your host, Leigh Nguyen, and super excited, thrilled that you are here for today's episode. Episode 480, and here we are closing in on the end of August, which means there are only 2 weeks this week, which has already started, and next week to get your ticket for Little by Little Homeschool Conference. You just heard me share about one of our amazing sponsors, Leigh. I'm going to put the link for them in the show notes so you can easily go ahead and see, because I know you're curious about it now. But if you have not gotten your ticket for Little by Little Homeschool Conference, now the conference is happening on September 19th, but ticket sales, it is a hard, firm closing of the door on September 4th. You can get your ticket at littlebylittleHomeschool.com/conference or simply follow the link that is in the show notes. Now, let's get into today's episode. As you begin a new homeschool year, I really wanted to discuss this topic today of, at the end of homeschool, what really matters. You might say, Leigh, I have a kindergartner and a second grader, and then, little ones that are just kind of rolling along the floor and are just tagging along. So why would I even think about at the end of homeschool? Listen. After graduating 3, I can't believe how fast it has gone. And I've spoken to so many moms who are in a similar season of life of me, or they are entering their last year or 2 of homeschool, and they're just like, where did the time go? Someone said recently, it's one of my greatest adventures. And we don't always think of it as an adventure when we're deep in the trenches of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and disciplining and discipleship and math lessons and the dog running out the door when it's not supposed to, all those things. We don't think of it as an adventure. Life is simply just doing day in and day out. There aren't always these exciting things. There are exciting things that are interspersed in it. But homeschool is just doing the thing, day in and day out, week after week, month after month, year after year, no matter how many years those are. And so here I am after graduating all 3, and I'm looking back, and at the time, as they were little, I knew what mattered the most during that time. I didn't necessarily lose full sight of it. The day in and day out didn't always keep that in that measured perspective on it. But what I needed at that time was I needed this, what I'm going to share with you today, to be spoken to me over and over again to remind me. And that's my goal for today's episode as you kick off a brand new homeschool year. I know that it's so easy to get lost and frazzled and stressed in the weeds of academics. Now, I'm not saying that academics is not important. I'm not telling you to ditch all that. In whatever method, whatever style of homeschooling that you do, please don't stop doing that, because we know that educated children, they grow up to be educated teens, educated young adults, educated adults, and they can thrive in the world. We know that if an uneducated child will continue being uneducated unless they can kind of pull themselves up by their bootstraps or someone gives them a chance, but you are the one that's giving your children a chance. You are providing them with an education because they can thrive out in the world no matter what areas and arenas, and this isn't even just about what job your child gets. We get so focused in school. Just think about the kids in high school and as they're graduating, like, what are you going to do with your life? You're going to go to college? What are you going to major in? We're so focused on that. But what about the other stuff? Now, I'm not saying it's not important. You need to make an income. If you don't make an income, you can't provide for yourself. But it's not the end all be all. When we someday stand before God, He isn't going to judge you by the job that you got, whether it was some high fancy job that had so many degrees and everything, or one that didn't have. You just simply had a homeschool diploma, which maybe you don't even. My state does not give us necessarily a high school diploma. They get a homeschool from mom diploma. But your child is not going to stand before God someday and say, well, I only had a homeschool graduate diploma. And you say, well, you could have done better. Oh, you should have gone. No. So there's that balance of it. God is going to judge us in a different way. And those of us that are in Christ, then we know that we have that redeeming work of Jesus. So we're not going to get into the gospel presentation here. That's your job to give your kids the gospel presentation. We'll get into that. But listen, the academics, it is important, but we can get so lost in the weeds of that. So I want you to ask yourself a question to figure out what really matters at the end of homeschool. Ask yourself, what will my children carry with them from their years of homeschool? Again, yes, knowledge. We want them to carry that. Especially we're looking at giving them a really solid math foundation and a solid foundation when it comes to reading and writing. Everything else bridges off from that. So yes, they need that solid foundation. And that's the basis of everything, is that math and the language arts. And so that knowledge, having that foundation, is very important. But let's just put that aside. We're going to just tie that up in a nice little bow or maybe a little gift bag and put it aside. But let's slightly pull it out, because I do want to say that those academics and that core schoolwork that you are doing, it's the basis of it all, but it's a great tool that can also be used to teach our children self-discipline. We can teach them initiative through it. We can teach them tenacity. A lot of character and heart work can go into the actual academic work when we don't really enjoy the history that we are learning about, or we are really struggling with the math, and so our anger starts to build up. And so then you can recognize that and talk to them about it. Like, this is literally just math. There's no reason. I remember my kids, I remember just being like, why are we getting so upset about math? It's just like a tiny fragment part of your day. And why are you letting it control you? See right there? That's a lesson that you can get into, and you can model and show your kids and walk them through this and get them hopefully to the other side, and they'll grow in maturity and wisdom. And hopefully that isn't the case all the time. They're getting so upset about math. But the academics can also build into that. What do you want them to carry with them beyond their homeschool? You want them maybe to carry on that self-discipline, that initiative, that tenacity, and a whole list of other things as well. So beyond, again, the academics, what will they carry with them? I'm sorry to tell you that your kids will forget most of homeschool. Let's just think about the fact that you don't remember most of your childhood, right? There are some significant points in your childhood, but you don't remember the day in and day out. And that's just the part of the way that God makes our brain work. Imagine if we remembered every single second from every single day. say you're 35 years old. And that's a lot to have to remember, plus everything that you have to remember today. But there are a lot of very significant moments. There could be day in and day out, mundane kind of things that you remember. Photographs, I know that often triggers a lot of memories for us, but you don't remember a lot probably from your childhood. And so I'm sorry to say that your kids aren't going to remember a lot. However, this is not permission to be lazy and just say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we don't really try to academically work hard. It doesn't matter if I don't teach them to do chores. It doesn't matter all these things. It does actually matter. Just because they don't remember it all doesn't mean that it does not matter. So the minute details are often lost, but the overall feel of your homeschool, the overall feel of being in your family, of being in your home, that is what they are going to remember. So what matters, in my opinion, it is their heart, their soul, their character. That is what matters in the end. I recently, or a week or two ago, did an Instagram reel, and I based it off of what my 21-year-old son said to me. And he randomly said, "Mom, once you're out of school, nobody cares that you were homeschooled." And at first I was a little like, oh, kind of stung a little bit. Like, I'm like, all those years I poured into you. And that guy he's the one that owns a business, who's the new hire or a business partnership you're doing. They don't care that your mother poured all this time. No, they don't care. They care more about his knowledge of business. They care more about his character. I mean, the bank, they care more about his credit. They care more about whether he is reliable in making his payments and all those things. They don't care that he was homeschooled. When he's making new friends, it might be a fun fact that comes up, but they're more so judging the man that is standing in front of them and deciding, is this a guy I want to be friends with or not? And so it stung a little bit. And then I was like, no, this actually really is the point. Nobody cares where I went to school. Do you care that even the degree that I got from college or the college I went to? No, it might be a fun fact to throw out at a party, but that's not why you would necessarily hang out with me. And you get out into the real world and it's not a big thing. I just remember when we were homeschooling, it felt like an uphill battle at times to find sports teams or clubs or activities or to get resources and services or things for them. Like, well, you're not in the school system, so you can't do that. You can't participate in these sports. It felt like people were like, oh, you homeschool. They just kind of always were. But once they're graduated, they're like, nobody cares. It's like, okay, all that fighting, all that kind of stress inside. So what I'm saying is, in the end, their heart, their soul, their character matters. And you get to disciple them. Now, for my family, what that looked like was giving them a biblical worldview. It was teaching and showing them the gospel. It was building their character. It was exposing and showing them how to live in the world as a Christian. And this is done formally, and this can be done informally. I think that both of those are really important, and pretty sure I've done some episodes related to this topic. If I have, I will put those in the show notes for you. But the informal just happens in life. Maybe when you notice something, or maybe a scenario that you have gone through and you have a tween or teen and you can sit down and kind of explain to them why something is going on and what this actually looks like. A little over 2 years ago, we left our church that we were at, and our boys then were 2 years younger, but still older teens, young men, and we talked through all of that decision and the reasons why and that process for them so that they were able to see and were like, you know what, although unpleasant at the time, my husband and I were like, this someday they're going to be leading their own family and they might find themselves in a similar situation, and they'll know when to say it's time to go and what that process looks like, and they'll be able to lead their family through it. So even those times that are hard for you, maybe not right in the moment, especially if your kids are young and it's things maybe not to share with them, but as they do get older, being able to share with them how you have navigated the world and situations in church and outside of church, but just as a Christian, but sharing the gospel, building their character. And so the formal part is what we would think of when we think of in homeschool. It's actually getting a character book. It is getting some type of biblical worldview book, which Elizabeth Urbanowicz, who is coming to the conference in next month, she has a great resources. So you can go check her out at Foundation Worldview. But there's a lot of resources. You can impart a biblical worldview to your kids and teach them the gospel. But then don't forget that informal part. We want to show our kids that our faith is not compartmentalized. It is not just one part of reading our Bible and talking about it in school, and then the rest of our life doesn't necessarily revolve around that. Show them what it is like to integrate and to live as a Christian in the world, to be in the world, but not of the world. And I know that in a 15, 17, 18, whatever minute episode, it's very easy just to say all this stuff, but it's a lot of work. But I promise you, it is good work. It is the best work that you're going to do. Again, don't forget the academics. We're doing that as well. But it is the work that is going to carry on with them. So I want to encourage you when you are saying at the end of homeschool, what really matters, I want you to ask, what do I want them to carry with them from this time in our home as children, as tweens, as teens? And then do that. Do those things that you think are important. Still do the math, and obviously, hopefully that falls into it, the reading and the writing. But if there's other things beyond that, dig deep into your family culture and say, what do we want them to carry through? Like carry with them as they move on, and do those things. Make those a priority. And as you step into this homeschool year, maybe, again, you are looking for a co-op. You are looking for some different resources, or maybe you're thinking to yourself, maybe I could start something. I've been thinking about that. Once again, I want you to check out vela.org. It's VELA.org. The link will be in the show notes for you, whether you are looking for a co-op, you are looking for some type of hybrid or some type of maybe tutoring for your kids, or you want to gather together with other homeschool families that are similar in values to you and seeking that same thing, like what really matters. What matters, because what matters to you often matters to other people as well. And so to get connected with them, or possibly to start your own program, go ahead and check out Vela and see the amazing resources that they have for you. And I just personally want to thank Vela so much for sponsoring the conference and coming alongside us. We are so excited for the conference. And yeah, friend, ask yourself now as you start this homeschool year, at the end of homeschool, when it's all done, what really matters? Answer that question and then go and do it.